What's up already? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about the best shoes for point guards. Before we get into the video, it's important to keep in mind that shoes can be worn for every position. Every shoe can be used in every position, but there are some shoes that have features that are better for guards, and there are some shoes that have features that are better for bigger players or centers or forwards. That's why I'll make this video to help you decide, depending on which position you play, which shoes you should get. Also, keep in mind to subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed the video, leave a like and comment your thoughts. Maybe I missed a shoe that you think is great for guards. Let me know in the comment section down below. With that being said, let's get straight into it and start with a budget option, which would be the Giannis Immortality 3. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of the shoe for a couple of reasons. I prefer shoes that have a bit of a softer cushioning setup, and I like shoes that have a bit of a wider fit. So these really hurt my feet. They were crazy narrow. The toes weren't. I think it's because the materials on this pair are more reinforced, are thicker, which I like because the toes didn't have enough support in my opinion. So I can recommend them if you have narrow feet and if you don't mind a little bit of a lower to the ground cushioning setup. In my opinion, it's the best basketball shoe for youth players. If you're still growing, if you need a cheap shoe to use for maybe half a season, if your feet are growing, these are a great option, especially if you are a guard. Moving on to another cheaper shoe, we've got the regular Austin Reeves one. Very similar cushioning setup, also very similar fit, rather narrow, but they have great lockdown, great support, very good traction performance, and they've got a crazy colorway selection. You've got the Milky Way colorway, the Valentine's Day, just to show some of my favorites. You can even mismatch them. Some crazy nice options available. That's why they are on the list. Then another pair that's relatively cheap is the Nike Sabrina one. In my opinion, this is probably the best pair if you're a traditional type point guard, meaning quick, agile, needing a low to the ground setup to react to crossovers, whatever. And these are one of the best shoes on the market for that. They also only retail for $120. Very nice selection of colorways, and they remind me a lot of the Kobe 5 and the Kobe 6. Great traction performance. Lockdown support is on point, and the materials are also very nice. The fit is rather narrow, but they will conform to your feet. So even for me, with my wide feet, these are a great option. I really like the cushioning setup as well, because they are low to the ground, but they have the small zoom unit in the forefoot, which gives just enough impact protection in the forefoot while still keeping you low to the ground. In my opinion, this is also a great shoe if you're a shooter, keeps you low and on balance. Then another pair I'm really enjoying at the moment, the Nike Ja 1. They retail for $120 as well, which is also a great price for a first signature sneaker in today's market. They're also very low to the ground. They've probably got the best support out of all the shoes on this list. Lockdown is top tier. I had no issues whatsoever at all times while playing with them. I felt safe and secure, and the traction performance is also really good. Quick side note, I love this colorway because it matches my team's away jerseys perfectly, and I'm actually thinking about playing with them in the playoffs. That's how much I like them. Then moving on to another shoe. I'm not quite sure about all the retail prices, so we'll just go through them one by one. We have the Anti-Kai one. They would retail for $125, but I've seen that resale prices are really expensive. But nonetheless, they're still a great shoe for point guards. Not so much if you like low to the ground shoes, because they have a little bit of a higher off the ground cushioning setup, but still they have great support, great traction, which are pretty much important in every shoe. And then you also have a nice cushioning setup, very soft in the heel, still relatively low to the ground in the forefoot, but not as low as the other shoes I just showed you. Another pair from a Chinese brand that's very low to the ground in the forefoot with good impact protection as well, the Weight All CD2. This is a really nice colorway, recently released, and they have a full-length Boom foam midsole. Boom, of course, is the most premium cushioning setup from Weight, also used in the Weight 10s, which you can see here as well. They would also be a great option, but they're just not as recently released anymore. That's why I didn't put them on the list. I think there's just one colorway coming out, the Hall of Fame colorway, and then we should see the Weight 11 soon. Getting back to the All CD12, traction performance is 10 out of 10 in my opinion, even on dusty courts. They also work very well for outdoors, so if you play outdoors, I can highly recommend them. Retail is a little bit higher than the other shoes I just mentioned. They go for $180, but overall it's a great value for money shoe because you can play with them outdoors, indoors, you get great durability, and overall the shoe doesn't really have a weakness. It has 2 shank plates, so great support, and a really nice cushioning setup as well. And for what makes them good for outdoors as well is that the materials are very thin and also breathable. Then moving on to the next shoe I have on this list. It's actually not the Curry 9, but I have the Curry 11 in the locker room currently. So that's why I showed the Curry 9, because Curry shoes are very, very good for point guards. I think they retail for $160 if I'm not mistaken. They are extremely low to ground and they have the best traction for clean courts that you can get. So if you play on clean indoor courts and you want a shoe that stops on a dime every single time, get the Curry Flow setups. Doesn't matter if you get the 9s, the 10s, or the 11s, they all stop on a dime, and sometimes they even stop too hard and make you trip if you're not used to it. So that's really, really crazy traction setup. The materials are also comfortable. They're a great option for wide feet as well. So if you have wide feet, I can recommend them. And lockdown support is good. If you play with ankle braces, these are also a top tier option. Just the cushioning setup is extremely low to the ground. It's similar to the Giannis Immortalities. Not much impact protection, feels like walking on the floor, which again is great for shooting, but I do prefer setups with a bit more, like for example the Jaws or the Sabrinas. Another shoe I can recommend is the Harden Volume 8 or also the Harden Volume 7. They should be somewhere here. Yes, there we go. Just to show them. Harden 7, if you can find them, are also great. Great for wide feet as well. These are a little bit more narrow, so if you have narrow feet and want some Adidas shoes, go for the 8s. And if you have wide feet, go for the 7s. What do they do well? Both of them, traction performance, 10 out of 10 in my opinion. The 7 pick up more dust, so the 8 doesn't do that as much, which is very nice. And I also just love the look of the shoe, such a futuristic vibe. Really, really like that. Cushioning setup is very nice as well. Impact protection in the heel while being low to the ground in the forefoot. Exactly what your typical point guard needs. Support is also top tier. You have the booty upper or the booty construction here. Very, very nice elastic sock lining fit, and they offer a one-to-one fit, and they also are very, very nice if you play with ankle braces. It looks harder to get inside the shoe, but it's very easy because it's elastic up here, so you should have no issues whatsoever with them. Then for another pair that's a really, really good option, but maybe more for like a heavier point guard that also likes to do some post-ups or attacks the basket more, needs more impact protection, is the Anthony Edwards 1. They retail for only $120. Also, amazing design. I just love what Adidas is doing currently with their basketball shoes. Traction performance, just like with the Harden 7s, 10 out of 10 in my opinion. They pick up some more dust though, so watch out for that. The fit is also nice for wide feet. It can just be a little bit narrow here in the midfoot. The materials are soft and will break in nicely. Even though they look stiff, they're actually very soft. The only thing that's weird about them, they look to be extremely breathable, but they're not, because there is another mesh layer underneath the plastic with the holes. But apart from that, very, very nice shoe. Also has great support and lockdown. So if you need that, I can highly recommend the Anthony Edwards 1. Just keep in mind, if you're a player who's played in like Giannis Immortalities or Curry's or Kyrie's, these will be very heavy and maybe a little bit clunky on foot the first couple of wears. They're actually very heavy in hand as well. Over half a kilogram in a size 14, which is pretty damn heavy. Keep that in mind. If you like light shoes, these are not for you. But if you maybe have like a less typical point guard role, these could be very nice for you. Then the second to last shoe, very expensive one, the Nike GD Cut 3. They retail for $200, but they offer something which is very rarely seen on a basketball shoe or in a basketball shoe. They have a great cushioning setup while being extremely light. Usually the shoes I just mentioned, like the AE1 or the Hardens or also the Kyries that have a nice cushioning setup, they add more weight. But Nike decided to use the Zoom X foam, full length bed of Zoom X foam. They are crazy light, almost as light as the shoes from the Curry line, which are the lightest on the market. And they still have great impact protection, also a lot of bounce. They don't have a shank plate, which is kind of disappointing considering the price tag of €200/$. But everything else about them is really, really nice. If you have wide feet, just watch out. This part right here, if you have a wide midfoot, this could dig into the side of your feet. If not, you should be good. The materials are very, very nice and soft, and they're still containing, even though the shoe is so lightweight. As I said, the only downside is that they don't have a shank plate. Traction performance is also 10 out of 10 in my opinion. One of the best setups you can get also for dusty courts. I can highly recommend them. And now, finally, the last shoe I can recommend, the Kobe 6 Pro Tour, if you can get them. Retail would be $180, but of course they're extremely, extremely rare and resell crazy prices. But I still wanted to put them on this list just because they're a crazy, crazy good performer and a crazy shoe for point guards. You have good impact protection while still being low to the ground, also still very, very light, and the materials and the insole, that's my favorite part about the shoe, will conform to your feet. So after a couple of wears, it feels like the shoe was made specifically for your feet. They will be very snug at the start if you have wide feet like me, but then if you break them in, just let me show you. I got the reverse scrunches right here. You can see they're pretty beat already. The Nike swoosh is peeling off, starting to peel off sadly, but you can see they're already beat in, and the insoles have molded to my feet, and they feel like they were made for me, and I don't have any issues with them being narrow. So I still need to break in the Italian camos some more, and then I'm sure I also have that sensation with them. As I said, probably the best basketball shoe on the market right now and ever. So if you can get them, I can highly recommend them for every position. Like I said in the beginning as well, all these shoes can be worn for other positions as well. There's some more shoes that can be worn for guards. Some other honorable mentions would be the LeBron 21, in my opinion, really, really nice option. Some other Curry shoes, also always great. And of course, let me know if I missed any shoes. Also, I would be interested. Let me know which position I should do next. The position with the most comments down below will be the next one I upload. With that being said, leave a like, subscribe to my channel, comment your thoughts, and see you next time for more reviews.